Hi there. Welcome to Nigeria Now here on Echo Television International. And this is where we talk about what have been buzzing in Nigeria. And today we're going to pick one of which Nigerians have been anticipating for a very long time. Particularly, we're talking about student loan scheme here. And then it's 3 days to go. The federal government have assured Nigerians that it is going to start on the 24th of this month. That is, we are looking at 3 days from today. And the federal government is saying they are starting with federal government varsities. That is not with the state, not with private-owned universities, but just the federal government institutions and also polytechnics. And then, as much as Nigerians are excited, the hope is come May 24th, the portals will be ready and set, and students will be able to start their application successfully. I am Rachel Tanze, and today I'll be having this discussion with Sambo Solomon. Good to have you, Sambo Solomon.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so the student loan scheme is already by the corner, and we are looking at a few days from now, Friday precisely, that these portals will be open and ready for students all over Nigeria, and starting with federal government-owned institutions, that is the universities and then the polytechnics. And then the federal government have assured us, the challenge for Nigerians all the time is, how will this happen? Because we've seen a lot of postponement when it comes to vital things happening in the country, and we've witnessed a good amount of such with the current Tinubu administration. And will it be using the site? Will it be user friendly? And will the process be that which come September, when a new session will begin in our varsities, students will already have had these funds disbursed to them according to how they have applied for it, be it 100%, 50%, depending on their need, and of course, different university with their different tuition fee. Secondly, I believe there's an attached mixed feeling to just the federal government varsities. I believe most of us were looking forward. Of course, I won't say I have mixed feeling that private universities are not included. It's okay. Let the federal government start with their own. But I was hoping to see that even state-owned and institutions are included. However, the federal government are just starting with their own. On a lot of sides, you can say, well, they have the majority of admitted students in the tertiary because they are the largest, and we find that virtually every state have a federal university, polytechnic, and they are bigger than most of the state universities. So it's only okay to say, okay, we are starting with their own. But I'm sure that there are students in state-owned tertiary institution that we're hoping we will get a chance to be able to access this loan at the start of the scheme.
Well, we'll say congratulations to the federal government. When it started, Nigerians kicked against it. I think some of us on this show, we discussed about it when the initiative came, and then people argue it, and they were like, okay, can you just provide everything, make just life simple for every Nigerian, so that even to afford the tuition fee, you don't need to take a loan.
Yeah.
People argue that, we're back and forth, but the federal government, stick to her plan. And then today we're hearing that by 24th of this month, the program will kickstart. Well, the program is here to stay, if you permit me. And then, because the federal government are saying no going back.
Yes.
But you see, there's one thing with this country. We have very good plans. and then at the end of the day, like you said, execution
Yeah.
becomes a problem. You will see us, starting something like it will end well. Before you know it, you start hearing complaints here and there. Well, starting with Federal University is still okay. What I feel, if the the scheme kickstart well, and they will begin to see result, then that means the state government will now key in and say, okay, what are we going to do for our own state universities?
Yes.
And then they will begin to see how they will subsidize, because in some states already there are some governors already that they are paying subsidy
Yeah.
in their own institution, which will say even before the federal government's own kickstart already, some state governors have started. Which would say that's the way to go. But you see, I was just curious to see what are the criteria, and then I saw admission letter from JAM, and then your school putting your name on their portal, and then your what again, admission letter,
Yes.
and then they are trying to tell us that there is no physical
Verification.
yes, there's nothing physical between your application and the phone. So that we can say there's hope. That means once you apply and you're qualified,
Process will be
you don't
fast.
need to see anybody, you
Yeah.
don't need to talk to anybody, straight away they will just transfer the money. Well, let's wait and see, and trust God that this will come, and then it will stand, and then it will yield the needed result,
Yeah.
because that's what we are looking at. And then you see, when you start a program, and then you allow it without monitoring. We have this issue in this country, the issue of monitoring. Okay,
Yeah.
this thing is new. How is it like? Is it working? Are we getting result for the purpose which this thing is being created, or this thing is being formed, or the reason why we are doing a particular thing? We lack that. So I think it is very important now that even before this program, people say a lot of things. People are accusing even this present governor and present government that they are being adamant when it comes to things that will affect the masses direct. Some people
Yeah.
are even saying that this administration is more like a tax collecting administration.
Yes.
That's what the masses are saying,
Yeah.
because that's what they feel. That's what they feel. And then you remember the Tinubu, his acceptance speech. He said he is going to carry the youth along. Which, if you talk about the youth, when you go back to varsity, that's where you have the chunk of the youth. Even
Yes.
though we have some that they are not in that cycle of education.
Yeah.
You understand? But he just feel driving them will help even driving the system, because now that we're in the era of technology, innovations, the youth are the ones that are driving. So he feels it is important if he invests in them. But fine and good. The whole idea is that so that students will take responsibility for paying their loans. That means if you know that you collect loan, I think that's one thing that interests me. If you collect the loan, you will know that you are the one that applied for the loan, and government gave you the loan, and you are responsible for paying the loan.
Of course.
Even though I know some will just be a burden to the parent, because the child will collect the loan, and then you see that the parent that is struggling, that the federal government is thinking want to help,
Yeah.
one person from that family, you end up seeing that the parent are the ones struggling again to pay. And then I'm trying to see the mechanism put in place that this money will go straight to the school,
Yeah.
the purpose.
Exactly.
So that
Yeah.
you won't see a student applying and then having access to the money and then doing something different.
Yes, and for me, you've as you are speaking, you've been raising some of my major concern. One of the first things you said was that it has started and it has come to stay. But in my opinion, yes, it has started, it hasn't come to stay yet, because the modalities for it to stay has not been put yet. And I feel for me that is the part that worries me. It's one thing for the first batch to be able to have access to it. It's another thing for it to continue 5 years, 10 years from now. I don't want projects come and go with an administration, because we keep seeing that over the years. I am yet to see one poverty alleviation scheme or program that didn't come and go with an administration. Whether we like it or not, student loan is that kind of scheme, because it is here to help a common man have access to education. So it's indirectly poverty alleviation. Even if the student don't have to spend that money directly, you're educating them, you're empowering them, because school gives you opportunity. That's the whole aim of education in the end of the day. And then when you look at it, I don't see them putting the modalities yet to say, you know what, this is going to be permanent. Because I can't stop overemphasizing on the fact that there have to be a student loan office, not a portal. There have to be a student loan office. Just like we have MDAs for certain things to allow sustainability and continuity in a certain project, you have to have that put in place. Under the Ministry of Education, there have to be a student loan office where these people are there, grow by the ranks, be there under the ministry, and be there permanently to make sure that when the time for remittance begin, there is somebody there to collect it. There's someone that has been monitoring so far, and then what will happen 5 years and 10 years from now, if the federal government will be able to get back its fund, which means that one that is starting to come back to the government, more people will have access to the loan. And then just as you said, when we say that the federal government, I think anything that Nigerians would think currently about this administration, they are not wrong. Because we are seeing certain hike, even in these tuition fees, from this hardship is caused by this administration a lot. So when you look at it technically, people that didn't need this loan 2 years back will need it now. And it is because of this administration. So if we say that we have an administration that is just collecting and collecting, we're not wrong, because it is the reality of where we are right now. But then most importantly for me is, what are the modalities? I'm not seeing any being put in place to make sure that this won't come and go with Tinubu's administration, that it will be here 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Until I see these things being put in place, I am still skeptical about the durability. Will few people benefit from it? Yes, maybe. But will it go with the administration eventually, if nothing is being put permanently in place for it?
I strongly agree with you. You know, the reason why I went the other way is because before the issue at hand now, that already everything is set for the scheme to kickstart, which is on the 24th of this month, right? People raise all of these things that you talked about. Can we see the modalities? How are they going to collect those monies back from the students? You know, somebody will just finish and will just graduate rather and just abscond. And then how do you do with that? Are you going to arrest the parent? Or what? Like, we just want to see all of those modalities put in place. That will give you idea that this thing is sustainable. You see, because of that, that's the reason why people are thinking, when we fail in making some of these modalities and seeing how the future will look like projecting into the future by putting your plans, we normally fail to do that. Or rather, I would say the people that are concerned, you know, to make all of these things, do fail in this aspect. And we just feel we just bring anything haphazardly because someone just sit down and think, and he just feel, yes, once I bring this like good proposal on paper. The reason why some of these things are being applied is because of the people that brought the idea.
Yeah.
Not because it's a sustainable thing. I work with Rachel. She's part of this and this and that, and then she brought a proposal to me, and this the only criteria for me to approve, not looking at it whether it's sustainable or not. The only criteria is that we work together, and she's the reason why we are here. So approve it.
Yeah.
She's getting this.
Sad.
Yeah, she's getting this out of it, because if you brought something, definitely they will pay you. Okay, will she get something out of it? Yes, approve it. I'm not even thinking of the sustainability. Yes, if it's a good program, is it good now? Do I have the money to implement it? If I don't, can I boldly look at you and say, yes, it's a wonderful idea, but can we just put this in so that I will work out the modalities for the sustainability of it? We lack some of these things simply because we look at politics, instead of governance. Once we are office, you are beginning to look at it as a time where you are politicking, not knowing that this time is time for governance. Whatever you have, it's for you to use it, and then see that you achieve result, no matter how it is. But we fail. So you see, after all that Nigerians were saying concerning the sustainability of this, Rachel, still the government were adamant. They still went ahead. That's the reason why I'm telling you it has come to stay. Because it shows that there are certain things that Nigerian doesn't even have power. Once the people at the top feel that they will do this for whatever reason, if you like, talk from now till the end of the year, nobody will listen to you, because what they want to do, they will do. But we are praying, because we are always hopeful. On this show, we are always hopeful that Nigeria will be better. We'll have good leaders that will think for the future and do the right thing, because this change is what we are expecting. Because Nigeria is supposed to be at the top. When you are talking about global influence, people should see us. We are not. See, when you talk about sport, you talk about economy, you talk about education. Nigerians are doing well out there. But when it comes to governance, you begin to ask, is it different people that are running for all these political offices or what? You begin to ask yourself, because when you see their action when it comes to governance, when you see about implementation and the rest, and you begin to ask yourself so many questions that up to today, no answers. So I just feel and I pray that this scheme will come out, because I'm assuring you, the same us will come and talk about this scheme here, whether it's succeeding or not. And then we will use that and rate them and go back to what we said and remind them from the beginning, we saw this coming and we raised this issue, and they are adamant. But you see, it is high time Nigerians will begin to think twice when it comes to spending money. They will tell you it's government money. When they give it out and then they are not able to remit, they don't care. Look at what we are talking about, the anchor borrower money. Now they have been chasing people. No people. They are chasing people because they gave out money and people are feeling it's government money. It's just another pattern of sharing. That's our mentality, and it's wrong. People should be accountable. People should be responsible for their action. So whoever take any money anywhere, if it's government money, chase him, collect that money. That's just it. Because some people will collect government money and still blame government for them not doing what they are supposed to do. Like you said, okay, you borrow me money, and I will say it's the policy that you put in place that make me not to pay the money, and I'm looking for waiver. Who does that?
We in Nigeria. All right. So we before we round up quickly, we are seeing that there's a move for over 300% increase for our judicial officers, talking about judges at the appeal court and the high court, and then looking at a review for the Chief Justice of Nigeria. This started with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Immediately he stepped into office and he's saying, okay, we need to review and look at what our judicial officers are collecting, because what they are currently collecting is nothing to write home about, and their existing package is about 280,000, is barely up to 300,000 monthly, with a little bit of allowances here and there. They have access to, just 13 million annually for them to be able to have a vehicle and all of that. And then now the new package, we're trying to look at this Chief Justice of Nigeria earning over 5 million naira, and then having more access to loans for vehicles. We're looking at over 64 million naira per annum, and then basic salary will be at 1.1 million or thereabout. Then other allowances, making it to go as high as 5 million, and then we'll be able to have access to other loans, allowance for traveling, because in the past for their annual allowance for leave was just about 246,000 naira, and then there is a need for review for all of that, because the Chief Justice is complaining that the judges need to be compensated properly for them to be able to function well. Let's not leave them at a position where they are vulnerable to bribes and then, just trying to make ends meet. Another way that will affect the judicial system of the country. And we are seeing over 300% increase. However, the concern is his statement concerning them not functioning properly, because the remuneration is not that high, so they could be at a position of not functioning well. And for me, I am coming from this angle that their basic salary, either way, I can't say our judiciary shouldn't get an upward review. They should. It's important. We need them to function either way. But should it be an excuse for them to not function well? When you are taking your oath and everything into the office, should you not function well because of what you are earning? Or are you obliged to function well regardless of what comes into your pocket? It's like, do we permit doctors to let patients die because they don't get their hazard allowance? Because this is the question. Or should the police, we're here always back and forth about our military, paramilitary, our armed forces and every other person collecting bribe, and we say it's not an excuse to say you're not well taken care of. And if this is coming from the judiciary, then it becomes a problem for us, because we are beginning to give excuses for not functioning properly when we are not to whatsoever, because your vows, your oath taking had nothing to do with what comes into your pocket. Is what is expected, that you uphold the laws of this country and then make the entire Nigeria a better place.
Well, I don't have issue with them asking for a review, whether it's 500% or 1,000%. Call it. I don't have problem. But you see, the point you made, when you are talking, I was just thinking about, my mind went straight to our doctors, to our nurses, those that directly deal with
lives, yes,
challenging issues, like now watching an accident patient, and then the doctor is telling you because 3 months he has not been paid, or because he asked for increase in his payment, so he's not going to do anything. Like just imagine that. But you see, we keep saying these things, that everything about this country, we should look at it holistically in the sense that, because you can't be treating one part and then allow one part to be suffering. The reason why we are where we are today is because they have given priority to certain people or certain profession or certain parastatals more than others. And I ask myself, why? When you look at the basic salary of every federal civil servant, you find out the difference are not much.
Yeah.
Whether you are a degree holder or what do you call it, polytechnic certificate, diploma,
Yeah.
or whatever qualification, you find out that from different MDS, parastatals, and the rest, the difference is not much.
Mm-hmm.
But what will blow your mind when it comes to allowances?
Yeah.
And you will see that the same level, like the same cadre, the same federal whatever, and you will start asking yourself, what are you doing here? Mm-hmm. And I think that is wrong. But to tell you that this thing is becoming worse and is eating deep, and the federal government need to do something so that it will, from the federal, it will affect the state. If not, we're in trouble. Mm-hmm. In trouble in the sense that the more Nigerians begin to feel their shortchange, the more Nigerians will cut corners to do things. They will not be patriotic.
No more quality work out there, performance by any employer.
We are in the same cadre, the same federal government. I'm seeing you living in a house of maybe 50 million, mm-hmm. driving a car of your choice. Mm-hmm. And we are in the same, and I see myself suffering. For instance, if I'm coming from the educational ministry.
You are level 9 and level 9 and elsewhere.
And then you are finance, Federal Ministry of Finance, or you are working in Central Bank, or you are in NNPC. You understand? Definitely, I will feel the line I am is a professional line.
It is.
Right? So I should be treated professionally just like the way you'll be treated professionally as a financial whatever.
Yeah.
So we have to create this balance. If not, all this agitation, let's look at it now, the face-off between the labor and the government. And sometimes you look at it, what the laborers are saying concerning what the workers are going through, they are saying the right thing, but sometimes it's the way they approach the whole thing to get what they're supposed to get. It's always wrong. But let me tell you this, because this is coming from judiciary, this will blow the whole issue. They should increase it for them. Shady said, giving them will help them. Right?
Yeah.
We are not saying no. Mm-hmm. What about the teacher?
I mean,
what about the teacher? Are you thinking about him too? And if he asks for increment, how many % are you thinking? How much is our military men collecting? The other ranks. Let me put it, those that don't even have access to other allowances, like traveling, like the spurious, do. How much are you thinking? Just when? That's when there have been, I think, 35% increment with the police and the rest.
Yes.
But look at how they put their life. Look at the harsh condition which they find themselves. Look at them in Maiduguri.
And judges don't have such harsh conditions.
They don't.
They're not any, with no offense to any judge that might be watching this or listening, but your job is not as life-threatening as our soldiers out there, the policemen out there, and they hardly and barely could get 35%. So how dare you sit down and say your salary will affect how you work if we have people out there who don't get half as what you get, and they are putting out their best in Sambisa Forest and all of that. It just shows where we are as a country.
The only reason why Nigerians would frown at this is because of what they saw just of recent happen during the election. Because they believe most of the people that scaled through is the court that gave them.
Yeah.
You understand? Even though I hear him saying so that the judges would not work with, or he's advising that they should not go with public opinion. Right? Yes, it's okay. But let's see how government will approach this holistically. Let's involve give them what they want. But let's see changes in the judiciary.
Eventually.
That's just it.
Thank you
if
so
that
much.
will give justice, why not? Why not? Give them even more. Give them even more.
Yes.
But consider other sectors, other ministries and departments.
Thank you so much, Sambo Solomon, for doing this with me. And to our viewer out there, thank you for keeping a date with us today on Nigeria Now. Don't forget to drop your comment on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's know what you think about the student loan and also what you are thinking about the 300% increment for our judicial officer. Keep a date with us tomorrow. Goodbye.